If you're playing Elite Dangerous, you have many amazing ideas. Perhaps you want to build the fastest ship in the galaxy, or maybe to make a combat ship out of luxury passenger liner. You've played a lot, and you have billions of credits, so surely you can start being creative. Well, hell no, you can't. Prepare for a journey that is lengthy and painful. It is called engineering. If you don't already know, fundamentally, Elite Dangerous is a multiplayer game about living as a space pilot. The game simulates many aspects of human life, most of them at a very superficial level, as is the case with politics and economics. But there is one thing that Elite Dangerous excels at. It is the simulation of the ships, their stats, flight and combat. For a space pilot, obviously, ships are the most important thing in the universe. There are two layers of upgrading your ship. The first one is buying better modules using money. This is the oldest system that was in the game since release. And the second one is engineering. With this system, you can take the modules that you've already bought and use the help of special NPCs, the engineers, to improve the modules of a ship further. If you want to experience advanced portions of the game, such as long-range exploration or advanced combat missions, and especially PvP fighting, you basically have to do engineering. A fully engineered multi-cannon, for example, deals 70% more damage than a regular one. Now, what I'm describing may feel like a normal gameplay system, right? Surely, many games have a system for upgrading your gear. There is no catch here, correct? But there is a catch. But actually, not one catch, but the series of massive fucking bear traps. You know how in real life you can buy any existing commodity for money? Engineering in Elite Dangerous is just built different. Engineers do not need money for their services. You have to bring materials to them, and then they will apply the upgrades for free. Yay! But no yay. Thing is, you can't buy the damned materials. It does not matter if you have billions of credits or no credits at all. You just can't purchase what you need to upgrade. So you have to extract the materials manually, or you have to get them as a mission reward. This in-game division between materials that you cannot buy and the normal goods that you can buy is incredibly absurd. For example, there are two metals, iron and gold. Now, which metal is easier to get in the real world? Of course, iron. Gold is a precious metal and it is much more expensive. But in Elite Dangerous, gold is considered a commodity and you can purchase it at any system that has extraction economy type. While iron in Elite Dangerous is a material and you cannot buy it anywhere. You have to mine it with dedicated hardware or get it as a reward. Like, just imagine, it's easier to obtain gold than iron in this game. And iron, from my example, is one of the easiest materials to obtain. There are, oh my god, for fuck's sake, 108 types of materials for ship modules only in-game. It's so many of them that it's basically guaranteed that you will forget to bring something you need to upgrade your modules like I did here. Oh my god, I did not bring enough conductive fucking components. Now I'll have to fight the material trader again. I am so tired of this shit. Yeah, about the material traders. The devs gave us an opportunity to trade materials. But guess what? Traders don't sell materials to you. They only barter with you in exchange for other materials. So, if you don't have materials to begin with, it is impossible for you to buy them from people who call themselves, quote, material traders. Since you can't buy materials, there is only one option left for you. You have to grind them. And it was my time to grind too. After my pilot, Rudolf Vogelsberg, returned from his epic 2-year journey to explore the unknown space, and retired to the tropical island, he felt that something very, very crucial was missing from his life. Rudolph yearned for this tickling feeling of curiosity that he experienced when running his detailed system scanner. He missed this fleeting thought, hey, maybe the new Earth-like world is here. Rudolph was very, very nostalgic about his time as an explorer, but also about his early days as a pilot, when he was a pirate in his old Asp Explorer. So Rudolph returned, and it was time to build new ships. I always believed that the best way to experience the game is to explore it organically, without following guides. So I logged back into the game, returned to my home spaceport where I had great relations with the ruling faction, and started to look through the quest lists to grind for materials. My pilot never liked mining. In my headcanon, it reminded him of the mining station where he was born. So mining quests were off the table. Combat quests seemed interesting, but the good old Asp Explorer was clearly not good enough for serious combat. There was a clear need for a new ship. While Rudolph had the money to buy any ship he wanted, well, you already know, the problem is the engineering, not the money. The bigger the combat ship, the more engineering I'd have to do. So I decided to build a small ship called the Vulture. You know, I've always had a soft spot for this little bounty hunter vessel. In the moment, however, all I had as an option was using my old Dolphin to transport wealthy tourists around the human space. So I replaced the jump drive booster that I had and the repair system with tourist cabins and started to fly around with the rich tourists. This was my first mistake. If you never did this, you have no idea how long it takes to complete even one relaxation trip for one rich tourist. You will have to visit at least 2, but more like 3 or 4 different locations on the opposite sides of the human space to complete one quest and get a handful of materials as a reward. But you know me, I'm quite resilient. After all, I lasted 2 years in the exploration trip, so I persisted for some time. So I took new passengers over and over and over. Soon, however, I started to feel despair. I was getting new materials at the snail's pace. I was so saddened by the speed of my progress that I started to donate money out to the factions of my home star system with a simple intention to boost my relations with them and, hopefully, to unlock more effective missions. And even this, honestly, did not help much. I was so saddened that I started to buy temporary cargo vessels to complete transportation quests that gave a decent material reward. So I did the following. Each evening I logged into Elite Dangerous once in a while, I think maybe once per 30 or 40 minutes, and after logging into the game, I picked the quests that offered the material reward that I needed, and then I immediately logged out of the game. Then, after a pause, I entered the game again and took more quests, and I did them all at once. I kept doing this for days, and slowly but surely, I went closer and closer to finishing the grind. There was, however, one episode of the grind that almost broke me. There was a material called Modified Embedded Firmware, cursed be its name. I needed to upgrade my multi-cannons to the maximum level of 5. It is one of the rarest materials, and I could never catch a quest for it. But then I saw it. A massive, soul-crushing quest to deliver thousands of units of basic medicine to some backwater space station. I bought the temporary Panther Clipper, the ship with highest cargo capacity in the game, for one purpose only, to do this job, to deliver basic medicine. Oh my god, it is such a slog to turn it around. You know, guys, I hate bricky ships like this. Oh god, I hate that ship. Just look at it. Look at this ugly brick of a ship. Like, look at this god-awful cockpit. There's just no vision. Despite my feelings about it, using this ship was the only option to be done with this delivery job as soon as possible. Took an awful number of jumps to move around with this amount of cargo. And honestly, going back to my home station without cargo was not that much easier. During one of my stops and attempts to relax from the grind, I saw that the quest description mentioned the minimum delivery requirement. I thought that maybe fulfilling this minimum requirement of 50% would be enough to get at least a portion of materials that I needed. So when I completed this minimum requirement, I clicked on the completion button. What? Where is the option of picking a reward? Oh, it gave me blasted credits and no materials. I just wasted all this time flying this shitty brick. I have no idea why the game did not give me the option to pick a reward option here, while this game allows you to pick the reward option in any single other blasted case. I just don't know how. I don't know the logic behind the decisions that the devs are making. You know, they could have at least warned me. After this incident, I turned off Elite Dangerous and stepped away from the game for a while. Later, however, I returned and used the mix of transportation and good... not good, but relatively acceptable tourism quests to finish my grind. The grind always takes so long because you need lots and lots of different materials to significantly improve your ship. This, for example, is how many materials I needed to improve a dolphin for my previous exploration trip. For many months, I lived in ignorance, thinking that it is a lot. But then I started to look at the builds that people were posting on forums, and I've come across... Shit, how long did you have to grind for this? No way it is real. How are you even finding patience for it? I don't know. Guys, can you even imagine collecting this amount of materials for just one ship build? I try to understand how people cope with a grind of such horrifying scope, and I find out that many people are not actually getting the materials in an organic way. In Elite Dangerous, there are optimized guides for every single task. Either way, there is nothing fun in grinding the materials for engineering, no matter if you follow the guides, doing the same optimized shit over and over, or you try to grind like me, by trial and error. It is boring either way. Now, let's assume that you have passed all the grind with flying colors. Now you have the materials. Very, very cool. But this game's grindy nature won't stop crushing your soul through challenges of material grind alone. The engineers themselves, the people who you are supposed to bring the materials, are a problem too. There are 25 engineers for ship modules in this game, and they are always, and I mean always, far away from each other. You know how in real world, sought-after specialists form clusters of services, luring in more clients as a result? In Elite, not a chance. If you are building a new ship, you will have to land like a million times on moon space stations that look absolutely the same. If you are ever going through a pain of building a ship that has low jump range, you know, like good old Vulture or Ferdinand, you will have to jump around the human-populated space for hours just to install all the modules you might need. And don't you dare forget to bring one chemical storage unit less than you need, because then you will have to fly to a spaceport to meet the material trader to exchange this one blasted chemical storage unit that you need. And material traders are always in spaceports, unlike engineers who are always on moon bases. It would be very logical if the material traders were sitting near the engineers. But no, not a chance in Elite. The devs just needed to add another level of tedium, so you will spend more time doing menial tasks. By the way, it's honestly such a joke that these big shots, galaxy-wide known specialists, live on almost empty stations in the middle of nowhere on some remote-ass moons. Sure, this is how talented, one-of-a-kind tech specialists live like proverbial kung fu masters, but worse. In places where there is no beauty, no people, nothing. Just a rock without atmosphere with a small space station on it. Have you ever thought why the developers put the engineers on the planets instead of the spaceports? Every NPC in the game uses spaceports, with only, and I mean only, exception of the blasted engineers. And I can tell you why. The developers know that landing on the planets is more annoying, it takes more time than landing on spaceports. So they are attempting, in almost any game design decision, to prolong the number of hours that hardcore fans spend in the game. The longer the retention of the most devoted players, then the higher the chance that the potential buyer of the game would not discard Elite Dangerous as a dead game while deciding to buy the game or not. And this is what the entire engineering system boils down to. It is an embodiment of lazy gaming design aimed at artificial bloating of the game. And massively. You see, you can't just use any engineer you like. Each engineer has a unique specialization. So using 1 or 2 or even 3 engineers will never be enough to completely upgrade your ship. For example, I had to use 6 engineers for my relatively simple Vulture build. And the engineers don't just work with anyone. The engineer has to contact you, not the other way around. And you have to meet certain requirements. Through designing these requirements, the developers, and I'm sure they did this on purpose, ensured that you have to work with all major in-game factions, including those your character might not like from roleplay perspective, and the developers also ensured that you have to engage with all in-game activities, including those you don't like. Let me demonstrate this with one example. The most important part of every spaceship is a power plant. No ship will be able to fly without it. There are only 2 people in the entire galaxy who know how to upgrade the power plant up to top tier. They are called Etienne Dawn and Heratani. You can only access Etienne if you are introduced to him by another engineer. And this other engineer will only work with you if you become allied to the faction called Arabia Blue Mafia. Heratani, on the other hand, will only work with you if you serve an empire of space slavers. Wonderful. So, I think you can clearly see what I'm getting at. You can only get a top-engineered power plant if you are either working with slavers or with mafia. And what if your character does not want to do any of this? Then no grade 5 power plant for you, space loser. If you actually want to build a ship that would be competitive in PvP, you would have to abandon all role-playing completely and embrace a certain socio-political promiscuity. You will have to work with everyone, no matter how evil they are, because guns go pew pew pew, I want more DACA, DACA 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 DACA. You may ask, if the engineering is so bad while being so important, should I abandon the game? I would say no. Elite Dangerous is still a game that scratches a very particular itch of immersive spaceflight. No other game does this better. Instead, I recommend the following. If you dislike ruthless and mind-numbing grind, evade in-game activities that rely too strongly on this grind. For example, never ever consider PvP fighting. I'm going, for example, to focus my future gameplay almost exclusively on exploration. Sure, I'll do some PvE combat in my new Vulture, but I have some cool exploration ideas that I will share with you in my future videos. Second, choose the ships that you want to build very carefully. In my case, I think there are maybe 2 or 3 ships remaining in the entire game that I would like to build in the future. Remember, The less you're interacting with engineering, the less you're breaking immersion for yourself. The freer you are from the soul-shattering grind, the more fun you can have in the game. Remember, it does not matter if you have the best ships. It does not matter if you are playing by the meta. There is only one thing in games that matters. It is having fun. By the way, if you had fun watching this video, subscribe for more stories from the Videological Dungeon.